The exit opportunities are the other thing if you're thinking long term. So some people think of New York as just, I'll only be there for 2 or 3 years, pick up the paycheck, and then move on. Where you move on to also matters. In-house counsel is often what a lot of students. So if you work for ExxonMobil or you work for Verizon or you work for one of the big real estate companies, if they like you and they like working with you at the firm, and you've built that relationship, when the time comes for you to exit, you can say, are you looking for in-house counsel? And more often than not, by second and third year, you're already getting headhunted on a regular basis. So you don't have to look too hard to find good exit opportunities. You wait for the right headhunter to come along and make an offer, or you start to build the conversation with the actual clients that you have. Firms don't disincentivize those conversations either. You're planning on going over to a client because it means that you're more likely to suggest when you're over at the client that you use the firm you used to belong to for any external counsel work. So they actually like when their lawyers go over to clients in-house, and they support and encourage that. Once you've had New York experience as well, you're also very attractive for top tier firms in Canada because you come with such rich legal training. Now, the one thing that I will say is if you choose to do litigation in New York, because it's so jurisdiction specific, it can be a little challenging to come back to Canada with. But if you're on the corporate side, you're doing M&A, capital markets, private equity, fund formation, real estate, that type of transactional work is more transferable. So your transition back to Canada will be made easier if you're on the transactional side versus litigation. A lot of lawyers will also choose to exit outside of law. So they're not doing in-house, they're not coming back to Canada. Many, like myself, will prefer to be entrepreneurs or enter the startup space. Some, especially if they're JD MBAs, but even if you're not, will make an attempt to switch into a business role, for example, in investment banking, private equity, consulting, or advisory services. Top firms like Bain, BCG, and McKinsey often look for ex-lawyers, for example, to hire as consultants at the mid-level. So there's a lot of room for you to take your strong legal skill set and actually go to top-tier consulting firms or investment banks if you've got that financial savvy. You can also start your own firm. I've seen this sort of ties into a blend between entrepreneurial work and legal work. You could start your own boutique law firm if you chose to. And then I've seen people go into reps and warranty sales. So these are just some of the options that you'll have. This doesn't mean these options don't exist if you stayed in Canada, but they exist to a greater extent in New York just because of the sheer volume of clients you're interacting with and the access and the networks that the firms have available for you.